Imagine a time when money flowed like water. Golf memberships cost millions, and a tiny piece of land in Tokyo was worth more than an entire state. This might sound like a fantasy, but it was Japan in the 1980s during one of the most dramatic economic bubbles in history. People lived in excess, believing the good times would never end. The stock market soared, real estate prices skyrocketed, and consumerism was at an all-time high. But how did Japan go from post-war devastation to this peak of prosperity? And what triggered the crash? As you listen, think about your country. Could it happen where you live? Housing prices might be soaring and the market hotter than ever. People could be taking on more debt, feeling invincible, just like Japan then. Many countries face rising costs and stagnant wages. Essentials are getting more expensive, and wage growth isn't keeping up with inflation. Interest rate hikes make mortgages harder to pay. Many nations face economic slowdowns with fears of recession. Job insecurity is increasing, and the gap between rich and poor is widening. Look around and ask, are we repeating the same mistakes? The lavish spending, skyrocketing property values, and unchecked optimism, it all feels eerily familiar. Buckle up, because this is not just a history lesson. It's a tale of ambition, greed, and the harsh lessons from one of the biggest economic bubbles in history. By understanding Japan's past, we might avoid their mistakes. This is the story of Japan's economic bubble and the valuable lessons it holds. Before we dive in, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful stories from history. From the ashes of World War II, Japan rose like a phoenix. In just a few decades, it transformed into an economic powerhouse. This incredible rise was driven by a combination of factors. Japan embraced rapid industrialization, investing heavily in technology and infrastructure. The country became known for its high-quality manufacturing and cutting-edge electronics. Booming exports fueled economic growth, making Japan a global leader in industries like automobiles and consumer electronics. The world couldn't get enough of Japanese products. Brands like Sony, Toyota, and Panasonic became household names. But beneath this prosperity was a dangerous mix: cheap credit, unchecked speculation, and an unwavering belief that the boom would never end. Banks lent money freely and people borrowed heavily, convinced that prices would keep rising. The economy was on a relentless upward trajectory, or so it seemed. The sense of invincibility was contagious. Everyone wanted a piece of the action. Stocks and real estate values soared, and fortunes were made overnight. It was a time of unbridled optimism and excess. But as history has shown, what goes up must come down. As the bubble inflated, Japan's economy turned into a high-stakes casino. Real estate prices skyrocketed, and everyone from corporations to individual investors jumped in, hoping to strike it rich. Luxury knew no bounds. Lavish parties, expensive cars, and opulent mansions became the norm. The real estate market was insane. Land in Tokyo's Ginza district was more expensive than the entire state of California. Companies invested heavily in property, believing its value would keep climbing. Even farmers sold their land for astronomical sums and became instant millionaires. The stock market mirrored this frenzy. Stock prices soared to unprecedented heights. It wasn't about sound investments, it was about quick profits. Banks played along, lending money with little regard for risk. Everyone believed they could get rich quick. Underneath the glitz and glamour, there were warning signs. The economy was built on speculation and borrowed money. It was a fragile house of cards, and any small disruption could bring it crashing down. Corporations expanded recklessly, assuming endless growth. Ordinary citizens took out loans they couldn't afford, betting on perpetual prosperity. The media fueled the frenzy, celebrating highs and ignoring lows. The government turned a blind eye, trying to keep the miracle alive. The culture of excess permeated society. Everyone seemed to ride the wave of wealth, but few considered sustainability. Enter the Plaza Accord of 1985. This agreement aimed to devalue the US dollar against the Japanese yen to address trade imbalances. While it made Japanese exports more expensive, it had an unintended consequence. As the yen appreciated, Japanese companies and investors suddenly found themselves with cheap credit. To counteract the slowdown, the Japanese government implemented aggressive monetary easing policies. Interest rates were slashed, and liquidity flooded the market. Instead of stabilizing the economy, it fueled more speculation. Property values and stock prices surged. The economy overheated as people borrowed more, believing prices would keep rising indefinitely. But the government and central bank couldn't keep up. The more they tried to cool the economy, the more people borrowed and spent. It was a dangerous feedback loop. The illusion of endless growth created false security. No one wanted to believe the bubble could burst. Yet the warning signs were there: overvalued assets, excessive debt, and a stretched banking system. As the bubble peaked, the risks became too great to ignore. The seeds of the crash were sown in the very policies seen as the solution. The measures meant to stabilize the economy had set the stage for a catastrophic collapse. The party couldn't last forever. In 1990, the bubble burst and Japan's economy came crashing down. The stock market plummeted, wiping out trillions in wealth. Property values collapsed, leaving investors and homeowners with massive debts. Banks were hit hard and many faced bankruptcy. The impact was devastating. Millions lost their jobs and businesses shut down. The economy entered a period of stagnation known as the lost decade, stretching into the 2000s. Consumer confidence was shattered and people cut back on spending. The government's attempts to revive the economy through stimulus packages had limited success. Interest rates were slashed to near zero, but deflation took hold, making it harder for businesses to grow. The financial system was burdened with bad debts, and the banking sector was on the brink of collapse. The social consequences were severe. The promise of lifetime employment disappeared, and unemployment soared. A generation struggled to find stable jobs, leading to a rise in temporary and part-time work. The crash left a lasting scar, making people more risk-averse. Despite the government's efforts, recovery was long and arduous. The crash served as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked speculation and the importance of sustainable economic policies. Japan's experience offers valuable lessons for other countries facing similar challenges. Japan's economy may never fully recover from the lost decade, but the country has shown incredible resilience. Over time, Japan adapted to the new economic reality, focusing on technological innovation and efficiency. Despite the prolonged slump, Japan remains a global leader in technology and manufacturing. Companies like Toyota, Sony, and Panasonic continue to drive innovation, producing products that shape our lives. The lessons from the bubble's burst led to more cautious and sustainable practices. Japan shifted towards high-quality goods, leading advancements in robotics, electronics, and automotive industries. However, challenges remain. Japan faces an aging population and a shrinking workforce, straining social services and economic growth. The government has introduced reforms to address these issues, including efforts to increase workforce participation and boost productivity. The economic crash left a lasting impact on society. People became more conservative in spending and investment. The scars of the lost decade remind of the dangers of unchecked speculation and economic exuberance. Today, Japan's experience offers valuable lessons. The importance of sustainable growth, prudent financial management, and addressing demographic challenges are more relevant than ever. As we look to the future, Japan's journey through boom, bust, and recovery provides a roadmap for navigating economic uncertainties. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like, comment, and subscribe.